Good evening. Hello and welcome to Startup Central, the new avatar of Startup Central. I'm Nantara Rai in New Delhi. Every day we come to you at 6 p.m. with the latest and of course startups, but also entrepreneurship, technology, innovation, disruption, anything that has to do with the new economy. Well, before we get to the top story, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick alert. Stay in touch with us. Write into us as often as you can. Give us feedback. Tell us what you want to see on the show, what you never want to see on the show. Pitch to us. You never know. Maybe you'll be a part of Startup Central too. Our email address on the top of your screens, startupcentral@etnow.tv. I'm also on Twitter. You can write to me directly at Nantara Rai. Well, with that out of the way, we're going to today put the spotlight on Facebook India. We're going to get you a special interview with the top boss of Facebook India, Ajit Mohan. Big reason, of course, is why did we choose to interview Ajit Mohan? Well, Facebook has today announced that it's going to be partnering with the government's Common Services Center, the CSC as it's popularly called, for a new kind of a rural outreach. In fact, this is the first time that Facebook anywhere in the world is attempting such a partnership with any government when it comes to the grassroots. Well, let's get to the special interview and you'll get to know exactly what Facebook is up to. Well, I'm coming to you from Facebook's headquarters in New Delhi. I've got a very special guest, the top boss of Facebook in India, Ajit Mohan. Hi, Ajit. Welcome back to Startup Central. Good to have you on the show again. A lot of recent announcements that are coming in from Facebook. What's interesting is that you're really going down to the grassroots, and today's announcement really is about that. Take us through it.
Exactly, Nayantara. We are announcing a partnership with the CSC Academy, the Common Service Center Academy, essentially where we are partnering with them to introduce a curriculum focused on digital training to village-level entrepreneurs across the country.
So how is this exactly going to work? Common service centers, of course, have been making inroads. I don't expect you to comment on it, but most of them have been in the constituencies of ministers and all of that. But forget that. How will you get them to this level of digital marketing?
I think, Nayantara, when we were stepping back and thinking about it, we saw two things. One, a dramatic expansion in access to mobile broadband over the last 3 years. Internet has gone deeper into India. A lot of people obviously are coming online for the first time. And second, a history with the common service centers where over the last 10, 15 years, these centers have done a big role in expanding access to public services as well as activating village-level entrepreneurs. Yeah. So when we looked at these two, as well as the recognition that as Facebook with our scale, I think we have a special role to play in this country, just given the scale of Facebook in India, and people come onto Facebook across urban and rural India. We are probably deeper into India than any other service or app. We saw an opportunity where given the success that has already happened in expanded access to the internet, the big opportunity we saw is how do you unleash the potential of that access? And one of the opportunities, which is what is coming alive in this partnership, really is how do we bring the toolkits that are available to the most successful corporations around the world and essentially put that in a box. We almost think of it as entrepreneurship in a box, and make it available to village-level entrepreneurs that really allows them to
Can you highlight some of this with an example?
Two specific things that we are focused on. One of it is digital marketing toolkit. A lot of the challenge for first-time entrepreneurs is they may be building something like a rug or pickles. And a lot of times you have easy access to the market that you immediately see, which is the community that you live in. But you may not be aware of the market that lies beyond, not just in India, a lot of times around the world. And one of the mechanisms of reaching that market is for you to be able to leverage digital tools, digital marketing, to be able to know who's interested in your product and then to be able to reach out to them. And that's the power of Facebook, and that's what we're putting, one big part of the curriculum is putting that in a box and saying, here's the digital marketing tools that allow you a mechanism to understand the true opportunity that you have. The second example is...
If I could just come in there,
Sure.
because I can't help it, I have to see your entire portfolio. So you're going to do that. Let's take the same example, a rug or a pickle, a small entrepreneur in an obscure city, a town or a village. Enter Meesho, enter WhatsApp. It makes sense business-wise as well for Facebook.
Absolutely does. And I think given the conversation that we had on Meesho, and I'm glad you're connecting the dots for me, it's coming in from the same spirit. Because for us, the real power, whether it's Facebook or WhatsApp that you highlighted, is with the kind of scale that we have, we do believe that we have an amazing opportunity to bend the curve, to really move the needle on entrepreneurship in India, especially female entrepreneurship. So Meesho was about, can we play an enabling role in fueling private sector activity, given the structure of Meesho as a social commerce company, where it can do its role in lighting up female entrepreneurship. This is coming from a different lens, which is it's an opportunity to work with the CSE and the government to essentially bring in the same toolkits that large successful global corporations have, and bringing it to village entrepreneurs through a public program. So all of it is coming with the same spirit, which is India is very consequential for us. It plays a special role for the Facebook family of apps. And we are equally committed to making sure that the scale of Facebook is available for things that are good for India. And in this case, it is leveraging the power of the distribution of the CSE centers across the country. And frankly, it covers, in my mind, across states, across constituencies. It's fairly wide. How do we bring in what we can bring in, which is the scale of our platform, as well as our ability to create curriculums that focused on allowing entrepreneurs the opportunity to market to large number of people in India and around the world.
You gave me an example of somebody who makes rugs and pickles. You were going to give me another example.
The second point that I wanted to make is a lot of the friction that comes in for entrepreneurs, especially female entrepreneurs, where they may have access to the internet, but they may not be fully unleashing the potential of that access. And a lot of the concern is around safety and privacy. So that's the second example is the curriculum is going to be focused on helping women entrepreneurs get comfortable with the idea that you can come online and addressing their concerns around safety and privacy. How do you use tools to ensure that whatever your guardrails are, you're able to impose those guardrails in terms of how you engage with the internet? So we see it's a two-step process for us. It is the access is already there for a large number of people across the country, given how deep internet has gone. It's saying let's activate that through one, giving them the comfort that you can leverage that access in a safe environment. And then beyond that, here are the tools that really allow you to unleash the potential of the internet.
But Ajit, I've got to ask you this question as well. What are the targets? How many common service centers would you look at? It is a public program. Do you have any such targets or a vision in mind?
We do. And the first phase of this program is focused on working with 5,000 village level entrepreneurs who will then work with 250,000 people in the communities that they're a part of. So we are essentially training the trainers. We are working with these 5,000 VLEs through the CSE Academy, and they will work with 250,000. Beyond the first phase, we see the opportunity as being unlimited. I think if the first phase delivers the impact that we envision, the idea would be to partner with CSE to take it to every CSE and expand it across the whole network.
But who's going to train on behalf of Facebook? How is that aspect going to work?
So we are, the partnership with CSE Academy is essentially to make sure that a lot of the training is happening with them. The specific role that we play is two things: making sure that, and the program will develop over time. So one of it is, of course, given the scale of the network that we have, us making that network available for CSE. As an example, there's a huge potential to use Facebook Live to make sure that the success stories that may happen in one community radiates to other communities. There is a lot of asymmetry in access to information, and a lot of these entrepreneurs may have similar life experiences, context, as well as the opportunity that they have. I think there's
The
value in
lessons they
connecting
can
the
learn
dots.
from each other.
Yeah, so there's value in connecting the dots. I think second is again the toolkits. That's specifically where we are helping in terms of building those toolkits, both online and offline toolkits, that essentially becomes the curriculum for this training to happen.
So have you
So I think-
prepared the curriculum, or is it
Yes.
going to have to?
So a lot of that has been prepared. A lot of that
Can
is
you
still.
take us
is-
through some of it? It is very interesting.
Yeah, we can do that offline.
Okay.
I think, and I think there are examples we can provide of some of the offline kit as well.
So having said that, that means, because if you use Facebook Live, and I imagine you could also teach Facebook Live to teach the curriculum too, language will not be an issue, because I was going to ask you how you were going to battle the language.
The curriculum itself is in 14 languages. So I think just given the 10 states that have been identified by CSE, I think it is to make sure that these 14 languages address the languages relevant in those states. I think that debate in my mind, Nayantara, is behind us.
Okay.
For either a public or a private program to be relevant on the internet today, given the scale of the internet, I think you have to be
In every
across
language.
languages. And for us, that number will expand, the scale will expand. So I don't think language is a constraint anymore. And we see the curriculum as being in 14 languages as a starting point.
I've got to ask you this, are you going this micro to the grassroots level only in India, or is this something you're doing across global geographies, across emerging economies?
I think this specific program definitely is an innovation that has come out of India. Facebook as a whole has different programs, whether it's She Means Business or Community Boost, that are focused on engaging with communities. But a program of this nature, where we are working with the government, with a institution like the CSE that's really focused on training village level entrepreneurs, is definitely a first of its kind. And hopefully for us, the big opportunity would be if we can showcase this as an example of a model that already has had success in India, the CSE model, and build in a layer of how a private company can come in and really fuel and unleash the true potential of the internet.
I've got to ask you this. This is obviously not corporate social responsibility.
No, it's not.
So this is, you plan to make money from
It,
this?
it depends on how you phrase it. I interpreted the question as, is it part of our structured CSR program
No,
that is in
yeah.
line with some of the specific rules that are relevant in India? It's not. But is this focused on our commercial agenda? Absolutely not. I think
Really? Because you will be able to spread the Facebook message, the Facebook net, the WhatsApp net in rural India too. It seems smart.
No, I'm glad that you're seeing what we do as smart, Nayantara, but I think the lens that we're applying is Facebook already has scale. Even if I just look about the Facebook
You don't want to say
app,
no to new users.
not at all. Even if I look at the Facebook app with more than 300 million people, a lot of whom come every day and growing very fast in India, there are a lot of things that we do to make sure that our sort of role in India as a very consequential material app that probably reaches more Indians. We will have programs to make sure that we continue to continue on that path. But this program is not about expanding Facebook's reach, not at all. I think this is about recognizing that with the reach that we have, with all of the toolkits that we have developed for corporations around the world, that large
And
successful
it fits in
corporations
well
use
with
every day.
Digital India, financial inclusion could
That's
be the next step.
Yeah, exactly. And CSE actually has a part of it that this time we're not directly focused on, which is on financial literacy. But the agenda here is really saying, how can we, with everything that we can bring to CSE, fuel India's agenda? So by no measure am I saying there aren't things that we do that are in our commercial interest. But this program is about the networks that we have, the communities that we have, the access to knowledge that we have. How do we build that almost into a curriculum in a box that can be helpful for CSE And the government's mission, not only to expand access to the internet, but in terms of building now new layers of services and unleashing the potential of all the people
this
who
will be
have
the
come
first
online.
of many, because like I said, you've done stuff in the startup universe,
Yes.
you've got various programs, you're focusing on SMEs, and now you're really going down the microwave. So I would imagine this is the first of such initiatives, if not with the government, but in a private sphere.
I would think so. And the dots connect for me, which is, I think your question is, whether it's with an investment in Misho, which is very focused on the private sector, or a program like this where we are working with the CSE, I think the dots do connect that all of this aids the cause of expanding economic opportunities in India. And the deeper we can get, I think the better it is for all the stakeholders.
I'm going to end this interview with my final question, and it's a slightly cheeky one. I said it's smart when you look at the commercial sense, but it's also smart with the strategy to have the government's favor. The government would like it, right? Let's be honest about it.
Absolutely. And for me, there is
And why not? It's a good initiative.
There's absolutely, I think I appreciate that the fact that the government and in this case the CSE is open to private partnerships and open to really saying how can we leverage the full capabilities of all the stakeholders to further the agenda of Digital India.
And with that, Ajit, I'd like to thank you for joining us on Startup
you.
Central. Thanks so much. Well, there you go. That's the top boss of Facebook India, Ajit Mohan, only on Startup Central, an initiative that Facebook is trying out for the first time in India, a rural outreach program in partnership with the government to empower village-level entrepreneurs, particularly women. Tell us what you thought of that interview. You can write into us at startupcentral@etnow.tv. You can also write to me directly on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Nayanthara. With that, we're going to take a short commercial break. But on the other side, we've got another special interview lined up for you. It's with the unicorn OYO. Why are we featuring OYO? Because today it announced it's entering a new business. What is that business? What are the plans? Stay tuned to find out. Latest news on startups, entrepreneurship, technology, innovation, disruption, anything that has to do with the new economy. Before we go ahead, just a quick alert, folks. Stay in touch with us. Tell us what you want to see on the show, what you never want to see on the show, what you think of today's interviews. Pitch to us. Who knows, maybe you'll even get to be a part of Startup Central. Our email address on top of the screen, startupcentral@etnow.tv. I'm also on Twitter. You can write to me directly. With that, we're going to today put the spotlight on a unicorn. OYO. It's become the third largest hospitality chain, and now the firm, started by Ritesh Agarwal, has its eyes set on co-working. Today, OYO has announced it's going to be entering the co-working space, and it's doing it inorganically. It's doing it by acquiring a firm called Innovate. All of this is actually going to be part of the new real estate business of OYO. Joining me now on Startup Central to talk about OYO's big bet in co-working, which a lot of experts believe could be at a staggering $30 billion as the market matures, is Rohit Kapoor, the CEO of the new real estate business at OYO. Hi Rohit, thanks so much for joining us here at Startup Central. Congratulations from hospitality to co-working. So I got to ask you, you've disrupted the hospitality market. Why are you betting now on the co-working market? What are the synergies? What's the rationale?
Entering co-working, this rationale is to build on OYO's capabilities in the real estate and hospitality space. If you think about it, the core capabilities are around acquiring real estate, transforming them using technology, talent, operating muscle, and there's also a very significant overlap between the customer base who uses OYO, especially the corporate client base, and those who are looking for OYO workspaces. So we believe this is a fantastic opportunity for us to get into a contiguous space and build a very large play around it.
Okay, so that's the rationale behind this foray into co-working. But Rohit, I'm sure you have done a dipstick, more than a dipstick, an exhaustive survey to figure out how big an opportunity it can be. OYO is not the first player in this space. You've seen others, whether it's WeWork, which is in India, you've got CoWorks, for example. So how big is the market? How big is an opportunity that you are seeing for OYO?
So if you think of the market, I don't think of this as a co-working market. We look at the entire office spaces market, and that is to the tune of $30 billion plus as per some reports right now. That's a very large market, and co-working is a very small segment of that. Our current footprint is we are signed more than 15,000 seats in India. We are 21 centers live across 3 brands. We are in 10 plus cities. The ambition is to, in the short run this year, to create 50 centers overall, and over the next 2 years to emerge as one of the most significant players in Asia.
Okay, so co-working can become a $30 billion market, a staggering $30 billion. But Rohit, like I just said, you don't have a first mover advantage. It's a space where you're seeing dominated by the likes of, let's say, WeWorks from the United States. You've got a homegrown CoWorks, which of course has the backing of RMZ. So having said that, how big of the pie are you expecting to grab?
So there are 2 parts to that. One is how big will the office rental market will be, and there are different reports which suggest that many of the cities in India are some of the fastest growing office space market in Asia. So if you take office spaces as a market, our estimate is that this is a 50 billion market 2 to 3 years down the line from here. Co-working is a very small fragment. So my belief is we will see co-working do 2 things. One is to grow the overall category, or to bring a lot more people who are sitting in the so-called informal workspaces today into the formal workspaces through co-working, because this makes things highly affordable. And 2, we'll see users of office spaces, traditional office spaces, converting as co-working clients. So in terms of market size, I don't see there's an issue right now. There's a headroom for the next several years for us to grow.
OYO is not just in India, it's gone overseas. Look at the success story in China, a unicorn, the kind of fundraising that we've seen. We know we can't take OYO for granted. Are you going to prove to be a challenger for, let's say, WeWork?
I don't think we base our businesses on challenging any existing player or otherwise. For us, it's very clear in terms of we are an innovative player, we look at markets. Our belief is that the affordable market segment in India and in many other overseas markets is huge. The trend of co-working has been accepted by multiple categories of clients, and our endeavor will be to create a distinctive product which adds value to our clients every day. The market is wide enough for multiple players, and that's something that I personally don't focus on, and that's something that at OYO we don't focus on.
That's a nice diplomatic answer. Focus on your own work. But Rohit, you're making this entry into co-working with an acquisition. Inorganic growth is the way you've decided to enter this new business, and you're doing this by buying out a firm called Innovate. Tell us about Innovate. How much did you pay for it? How big is Innovate? With this, what happens to your portfolio immediately? For example, how many centers, how many seats at these co-working stations, what kind of clients?
Right. So Innovate today is about 6,000 plus seats live across 13 centers all over India. Having said that, we look at Innovate as part of a multi-brand portfolio today, and Ritesh Malik, who is the founder of Innovate, and the entire team has joined us. They're very much a part of OYO today. About 150 people have joined. Overall, as I said, that we want to grow to over 50 centers by the end of the year across the 3 brands. Innovate will continue as a brand, and it remains a significant part of the portfolio for us.
Okay, so that's what Innovate gets you, organic as well as inorganic growth. Rohit, how is OYO going to disrupt the office market? You've done it in the hospitality space, not just in India, but overseas in Asia as well. How do you plan to do that in the co-working space?
I like to use the word innovation more than disruption, and our endeavor is to make sure that we innovate according to what the client needs today. And I'll just give you a few examples on where we believe next wave of innovation will come from, and we hope to drive that. Today the co-working is seen as a product which belongs to only a certain class of clients. While that is true, I believe we have an opportunity to bring in clients who are not traditional users of co-working or flexible workspaces into our centers by really understanding the needs. So just to give an example, today if you think of an architect or a professional services, any kind of person who's into professional services, they may not see co-working as a natural extension of their workplace. However, if you go down and think that what they truly need in a place like that, and create products at the right price point, that makes a huge difference. So that's why you see that there are three distinctive things about us. One is that we have entered the market with a multi-brand portfolio. You will not find many players doing that. That's because we believe there are, in the affordable to mid-market segment, there are multiple opportunities there. Second is we have a combination of inorganic and organic strategy. We acquired Innovate, but we also launched organic brands. And third is in terms of the price point, we are absolutely focused on making sure that we create enormous value for our clients by making workspaces extremely affordable.
Trust a disruptor to say they don't like the word disruption, they prefer innovation, but that's a good insight. It basically shows you don't take things for granted. Having said that, Rohit, you were just saying attractive price points. I'm sure everybody can guess my next question. What are these price points that we can expect at the OYO co-working stations?
So my sense is that depending on location and market, our focus is to be in the 6 to 10,000 rupee category per seat, and that gets you everything that you need to run a fully functional office, which includes space, customization, furniture fixtures, services, Wi-Fi, power backup, F&B, you name it. I think the whole idea is that you take all the pain points of a client and create an ecosystem where they can really focus on what they should be doing, is to serve their clients and keep their employees happy.
Ladies and gentlemen, so now you know how much a co-working station is going to cost you when it comes to OYO. But Rohit, tell our viewers, when you look at these price points, are they disruptive? What I'm trying to also ask you is that are they highly competitive? Are they cheaper than, let's say, your competitors? Are they cheaper than the fixed head cost if I was to go with, let's say, traditional office space?
Yeah, so I think that's something that it's not about disruptive pricing. I think it's about offering the right value at the right price, and we do believe if you look at Indian market, 65-70% of the market is in that segment. So our focus remains on creating an outstanding experience and a workspace at price points which are at least 20-30% lower than what you'll find at for similar products.
Well, there you go. Now you have an idea of the pricing that OYO is targeting. How are you going to be funding all of this, Rohit? Shed some light on that. Yes, you're a unicorn. We just saw a recent fundraise, a successful one at that. We've seen Airbnb, for example, invest in OYO as well. But how is this new business going to be funded?
At this point, it is funded by the parent company, which is Oravel, and it is part of the fund spend plan in India that we disclosed, about 1,400 crores, which we released a couple of months back. So this expansion is very much part of that fundraise.
Okay, so no specific fundraise when we talk about co-working. But Rohit, can you give us an idea as of now, post the acquisition and the deal that you have with Innovate, which are the kind of clients you're going to have already on board?
So I think that's been a fantastic addition because of Innovate coming into the OYO family. We not only got in Ritesh Malik, an outstanding founder who has created the Innovate brand, a team of 150 people, and a slew of clients who are being loyal to the Innovate brand for 2-3 years now since they started. So we have a wide range, starting from freelancers to Series A startups to Series B, C, D, E to multinationals. We've got those relationships, more than 300 clients right now with us because of the Innovate acquisition.
What about overseas plans? Will you enter China, for example? Look how OYO is doing so well in China, considered to be the dominant player. Is that the game plan as well? Take this business overseas?
At this point in time, we are focused on making sure that the Indian operations scale up to what I've already disclosed, but at some point we will consider expansion into other Asian markets as well.
Okay, so the focus right now in India. Having said that, can you shed some light on what your boss and the founder of OYO has instructed you? What are his targets as far as this new venture goes? Has he given you targets? Has he given you milestones when it comes to the co-working space business?
I think, look, in my discussions with Ritesh, the focus also always has been creating a product which makes workspaces highly affordable and at a great quality. I think that has been the focus of most of our conversations and discussions that we do. It's not always about scale, it is about the product. In terms of scale, I think we will be very much shooting to create 50 centers up from 21 right now over the next 4-5 months, which is this calendar year.
Globally, we've still not seen co-working companies enter the green. They're being seen as a cash guzzler. Look no further than WeWorks. It wants to go in for an IPO, but it's going to do that by making a pit stop at the debt markets. Over $2 billion is what the Wall Street Journal had reported. So looking at all of these companies, these kind of examples that you have, not just in India, but overseas, I'm sure there's a lot that you have studied, a lot that OYO can learn from. What are some of these lessons? How will you prevent the new business from being an absolute cash guzzler?
So it is not for us. I think that's something which we have been very focused on. Those situations arise for whoever it is because of very expensive leases or models which are not tuned to the market. For us, we are very, very conscious in terms of where we are acquiring the lease, what rates are we acquiring it at, how much we are spending per square feet in those locations, and some of those numbers are absolutely industry beating for us. I can't disclose them to you right now on this call, but unit level profitability, center level profitability is super important. Most of the mature centers of Innovate run at more than 85% occupancy. We see some of our centers getting signed up even before launch because of the product and the value that we are offering. So while scale will always be there, I think unit economics and profitability is absolutely prime focus. I don't think any example or generalization of that nature which you asked the question on the basis for is applicable to us at this point in time.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're getting some idea of what the business model is going to be, some insights that are coming in. Rohit, are you going to spin this off into a new entity? Is that the plan?
So it depends on how you see OYO. Today OYO is the third largest hotel brand in the world. It instantly also is one of the largest co-living players in India. We have a vacation homes business in Europe and in India, and we see the real estate as a wide and a deep opportunity. Co-working is definitely a part of the mandate. We don't see in terms of spinning it off or any other action of that nature at this point in time. I have nothing to share. It is very much a part of the OYO franchise. Innovate has also become a part of OYO. The team sits out of OYO premises most of the times. It feels like they've been there for a very long time and not just recently. I think we are very excited about what you're building right now. Our focus truly is making sure that the product is right, the markets are right, we get our leases at the right prices, and we offer great value to our clients. I don't think we are focusing on anything beyond that at this point.
Okay, so no plans for a spin-off. Rohit, you head the new real estate businesses at OYO. Give us some idea of what else we can expect from OYO when it comes to the real estate business.
I think we have shared the entry into co-living and co-working. That's a lot for quarter. For what else can you expect? I think we'll always be proactive in sharing what we have to share with the media at the right time.
To be fair, I was actually just trying my luck over there. You don't ask, you don't get. I didn't think that you were going to reveal your new business plans right here on Startup Central. I was just hoping. But having said that, the real estate market has been dead for over 10 years. The property market still going through one of the worst down cycles that we have ever seen. You're entering a new business in the midst of that down cycle. How are you going to hedge yourself?
So for us, I think we want to design a business which is fairly resilient to cycles, and both on the co-living and co-working side, we are very conscious of not over-exaggerating either a downturn or upturn in real estate prices or leases. So it honestly doesn't influence our day-to-day thinking on what the condition of the real estate market is.
Before I let you go, you said you don't like the word disruption. innovation. You guys at OYO prefer the word innovation. So with this innovation, are you also going to perhaps be a challenger to, let's say, the DLFs and the Rahejas of the world? What I'm trying to understand is that the traditional office providers need to be wary of not just OYO, but this growing phenomenon of co-working.
I think the co-working product and what we attempt to create does create value for a variety of clients, be it freelancers to large companies. Whether anybody needs to be worried about us doing anything, I don't think so. Many of the names you have mentioned could be partners in as we build further out. And look, the market is large enough. India is an economy which, as you read, is headed towards the $5 trillion mark. It requires a lot more companies to innovate and build large businesses out of India. That's what OYO has done on the hospitality side. As you know, as infants and babies in the OYO system, my desire is that we focus on absolutely right thing, which is making sure we get great talent, great technology, and focus on our clients. I think if we do that day in and day out, scale is an outcome and not a pursuit by itself.
Well, with that, Rohit, I've got to say that was a very diplomatic answer, but I've got to thank you for joining us here on Startup Central, for being so candid on what we can expect going forward as far as OYO's new business goes. There you go, folks. That's OYO, the unicorn, after conquering the hospitality market, venturing overseas, is entering a new space, co-working space. That was Rohit Kapoor, the CEO of the new real estate business, taking you through all of the details. With that, we're going to take a short commercial break. Stay tuned. We've got a lot lined up for you on the other side, including a special from Vani Kola from Kalari Capital, who's going to be sharing how you can perfect a pitch that you make to investors. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Startup Central with me, Nayanthara Rai. Remember, you can email us, the email address on top of your screen, startupcentral@etnow.tv. Tell us what you think of the show, what you want to see on the show, what you don't want to see on the show. Pitch to us. Maybe you could even be a part of Startup Central. You can also write to me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Nayanthara Rai. Now, having said that, one of the things all of you budding entrepreneurs, startups, often wonder about is, what's a good pitch? How can you make the perfect pitch? How to make a pitch that's going to immediately catch the attention of an investor? Well, we thought we'll feature Vani Kola in this edition of the Startup Toolkit. These are pearls of wisdom, advice that is coming in from Vani Kola. Well, welcome to this ET Now special. I've got Vani from Kalari Capital joining us. This is something we get asked a lot on ET Now. What makes a good pitch? What kind of a pitch stands out?
Somehow I don't like this word pitch. It sort of feels like it is orchestrated or artificial. The best pitch is one that's authentic. But, there is also a storytelling. And when I say storytelling, what are the key points you're trying to communicate? And have you thought about the right way to communicate that? Who's your customer? And the questions are not difficult, right? Who's your customer? Why do they pay you? Why is there a problem? Why do you have something unique, right? And can this ultimately become a large company? If you can answer those questions in any manner, form, in any order, then that's the right overview of your business. And there's too much focus on what's the right pitch. I think there's an authenticity that you need to bring, and that's important.
Also, just taking off from what you said, when should a pitch even be made? A lot of people want funding from day one or very early on. What's your advice to startups, entrepreneurs starting out now? When do you know you should get funding?
Well, your first question was, when should a pitch actually be made? Every day, right? You are telling your story to customers, to suppliers, to employees, to investors, and they are more or less the same thing, And so, in a way, you're telling your story every day, and you have to be perfecting that aspect. So, in a way, you are pitching every day as far as I'm concerned, okay? It's not something special to investors, right? If you have great employees, great suppliers, great customers, it should be very simple to communicate that to investors. When do you need funding? When you think the money that you raise can create accelerated value creation in your business, and that's when you should take the money.
Okay. What are the do's and don'ts when it comes to Vani and Kalari Capital when you go through pitches?
To me, the pitch has to come from the CEO, because ultimately we are betting on that CEO's capacity as a leader to solve for every problem. Some that can be foreseen, most that are unforeseen. So it's the competence, passion, commitment, clarity of the founder that matters to me the most. And sometimes I'm surprised when founders delegate the pitching, so to speak, right, or the storytelling, as I like to call it, to someone else. That doesn't work for me, either to a banker or to someone, co-founder or someone else. If I can't bet on the CEO, then I don't bet at all. Authenticity matters. It's not the how great the slide deck is, how professional, who prepared it. The authenticity matters. Last thing, I tend to ask a lot of questions, and that comes from enthusiasm to learn. And sometimes founders think that means that somehow they are failing. And it's not like that at all. It's contrary. If we are not interested, I'm not going to ask any questions. If I'm asking questions, I want to learn more. And the conundrum of that is people get defensive when you ask questions. Don't be defensive. Some you can answer, some maybe you don't have the answers, and that's perfectly okay. Because
in that case, would it be better to say, I don't know the answer, I'll get back to you?
Absolutely. What happens after we invest? We are on the board, we ask you 100 questions. Some you know, some you don't know. It takes a certain confidence to say, I don't know. And you're not going to know. I don't know many things today, every day. So the confidence of being authentic, yourself, open for a dialogue, and listening, learning, these are all the intrinsics that are very, very important. Because at the end of the day, the entrepreneur over the next 5-10 years is going to go on the most incredible roller coaster transformative journey, right? The qualities of someone who's prepared and ready to go on the transformative journey is really what I'm looking for.
I'll make this my final question in the segment we call Startup Toolkit. What does it take to pitch to Vani, to pitch to Kalari Capital? How should they even reach that level? How should they reach out to you?
There is no mysticism in this or a mystery. It's not that difficult. You have a idea that you are passionate about. You are convinced that it's a problem you are capable of solving, and it's a problem that's worth solving. And in doing that, you have an aspiration to build a great business. And along the way, you think there's a value investors bring to you, and collectively we can make something great happen. And if you can communicate that,
but what, like an email, LinkedIn? Is it only through your network? How does it work?
LinkedIn, no. Honestly, I get so many LinkedIn requests that I can't even look at them. Sometimes people I know really well say, oh, you didn't answer my LinkedIn message. Sorry, but LinkedIn, honestly, no. Because just the volume. Email, fine. I do answer emails, but sometimes the emails will be not to the point. It's just, I'd like your time. Then I don't know how to grade that, right? So, but, send more detail. And
what would be a good subject line?
Good subject line would be something succinctly around your business idea. I am solving for creating quality education online, and I have unique IP for it. I don't know, something like that. But we want to be reached, okay? We are here to invest in entrepreneurs. If there were no entrepreneurs, I have no business, right? So it's not like we are the best kept secret or anything like that. Our emails are public. Reach us. Reach us.
But reference usually works the best, right?
Well, reference works only because the reference, in fact, generally provides a context, and that's why it works. The reference probably is doing the job of, summarizing why we should meet you. But if you don't have a reference, you can do that for yourself.
And reference doesn't mean vouching, because that's another mistake a lot of people make.
Reference is not really vouching. The reference simply is usually probably doing a good job of telling us why we should consider meeting this entrepreneur, and that's really the value.
Thank you, Vani, for joining us here on Nitina.
Sure.
And folks, with that, we're going to wrap up this edition of Startup Central. Tell us what you thought of the show. We'll be back tomorrow, same time. From the entire team that put the show together, many thanks for watching.